right. So speaking of seeing things differently, using the same data. Ooh, that was pretty good, Ray. Thanks, Dan. Today's tight housing market is already overbuilt, one analyst says. Uh, anyone out house hunting right now knows that the pickings are slim, the competition is fierce, and the prices are high. But one analyst says there's already too many houses being built. Supply of the homes for sale end of August totaled 1.29 million units, down 1.5% from July and 13.4% from August of 2020, according to the National Association of Realtors. Dennis McGill, he's the director of research for Zelman and Associates, however, said that the current supply of homes for sale is not indicative of the overall need to build more houses. Demand is strong right now, he said, because of unusual emotional surge driven by the pandemic. Demographics, which are a better measure of housing demand historically, do not support more construction. And that's one of the points that Logan's took with him. Logan's. that's
Logans, multiple Logans.
that's one of the points that Logan's took. I said it. I don't know that Logan took is saying that the mistake.
That's a weird speech impediment. You can't say
I don't know.
Logan.
Just adding S to Logan's. Uh, Logan said that he used the word emotional and that was incorrect. That the demographics actually do support more housing. He also said that there's words in here that are more for Wall Street than Main Street. That the wording being used is for investors to start hedging compared to maybe the home price gain slow type of thing is the same, like home construction. The speed or pace at which home construction is operating now should start to slow. And so as that happens, you have investors that want to start moving money around from outside of builders to other things. So that's kind of Logan's point on it. But it says, quote, there's a downward trajectory of population growth, household formation as well, and that's really going to undermine the need for what's built.
But we're still at over 7 billion people, though. Like a downward trend of 7 billion is not that big of a number.
Well, on the other side of that, you have the development community that's actually very optimistic about being a housing shortage and actually very optimistic about how much they needs to be built. And they're actually pressing the accelerator harder than we think they probably should be.
Or can I agree with Richard Richard, can you let us know how we say your last name? Gines? I'm going to say Gines. I'm going to commit to Gines.
I think it's Gins because it's a short I. Because there's no vowel right after it.
Gins would work too, but I'm going to agree with him. So I would argue that we're just catching up and it's not overbuilt. We're catching up from the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, he says that the housing starts have not kept up with demand for decades. There is a real housing shortage in most large cities and suburbs.
Except for here in the LA surrounding areas because everyone's left.
That's right. Everybody's leaving California.
It's literally a ghost town. It's amazing.
Home builders, however, seem to disagree. Housing starts are still not where they were over a decade ago, but they are slowly crawling back. Home builder sentiment is high. The stocks of the nation's public home builders have also been on a tear, though that's largely due to pandemic demand. So you guys can read more about this. It talks about a housing soft patch. He said we need 800,000 to 900,000 single-family homes for a household formation growth and another 200,000 to 300,000 per year, replacing housing in second homes. He pointed out that in 2018, there was more. Well, let me get to the. All right, here it is. Here's his quote. The challenge now is that we have a supply side limitations, including the lack of building materials and the growth and shortage of skilled workers, plus higher home prices relative to incomes. So it's the affordability issue.
Right.
You have home builders who bring supply, and you now have single family rental companies who are bringing a lot of supply, build for rent, and you have multifamily developers bringing supply. So all three of these pieces have seen a very big step up in optimism on the development side, and it's going to take some time for that to come to market, but it's going to be coming pretty aggressively.
Right. I had that quote as well. That's the one quote I pulled from the article as well, because all of those things are good. They need to come to the market aggressively so we can, I'm going to say Mike today. Mike Rodell says, we need that lower third. But what they mentioned in that quote, they don't just mention the lower third. They mentioned build for rent and multifamily as well, and they're all coming to market. Those are all good things. They're all positive things, in my opinion. And also the article mentions that Ivy, let's see, what is her? Ivy Zellman is this guy's partner, and she made a big prediction before the crash, 13 years ago. So it seems like this dude is looking for something. Be like, well, Ivy made a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction too.
Yeah, I would have to say Ivy. I don't know if it was Ivy specifically, but Logan did say that there were some predictions that they made in the past that were completely wrong. Specifically,
they did not come to fruition. A little bit.
Yeah. And he said this,
Orman.
And that's where the guy lost the credibility for me, honestly, because as he was talking about it, he was like, the same thing happened in 2005, and we saw how that turned out. It's like, this is not the same. This is nowhere near the same. It's not the same environment. So he lost a bit of credibility with me, but California, somebody obviously wanting to move to Arkansas.
From California. Sorry, that was me calling you. I have a referral for you. It's me.
So I'm leaving. I can't wait to see what Logan says about it. I told him in the little story that I tagged him in, I was like, look, you have the forbearance crash bros, you have the housing bubble boys, and what are you going to call these guys? And so I know it's a working title, but I suggested the oversupply crash guys. That's what I came up with. But
the oversupply overseers,
oversupply guy. I don't know.
Yeah, the oversupply chain.